we want the glaze to stick, it's because you will have dust on your pot. You'll have clay dust. If you didn't wipe it, if you just dipped it into the bucket without wiping it, if there are little patches of dust, the glaze will crawl during the firing and it'll pull away from that dust. You'll have splotches, you'll have bare spots on your pot. So, damp wipe, number one, very, very important. Number two, you're going to wax resist. We have wax resist. You're going to wax the bottom. Okay, most of you know this, but I'm going to just say it again. You should not be underglazing the bottom of your pot, right? Just the sides and the top. So, I don't think you wax the bottom when you paint it on glazes, right? What's wax for? Yeah, it's to resist the glaze. So where you put wax, there will not be glaze. This is another form, it could be another form of surface decoration. If you want to paint, like, let's just say you have a cylinder, and you say, well, you know, I want to design just in clay without any glaze there. So you're going to wax resist in a whatever pattern, and this part, wherever you put the wax, there will be no glaze. So it's another form of surface decoration, is to resist the glaze, and it'll be blank. We're going to also talk about stains today, okay, over here. And that is another form of surface decoration that you can use at this phase in the bisqueware stage, not on greenware. Okay, so you wax the bottom and up the side like 1/2 inch. A perimeter up from the bottom. And I'll demonstrate that. You're going to wax the complete bottom, and you're going to wax up here a bit, 1/2 inch. Why? This is different from earthenware. This is different from what you used in high school or at Culinary Mind. Why would we not want glaze all the way down the side? No, it's because if there's glaze down here or on the bottom, what's going to happen to your pot in this firing, in this kiln? What? It'll stick, it'll glue to the shelf. When you did earthenware, you glazed the bottom, right? And you fired on stilts. This is different because we're doing cone 5 stoneware. You are not glazing the bottom, and you're glazing a perimeter up the side, so that it won't stick to the shelf, and in case you have any glaze running down, you'll have a little perimeter for error, for the glaze to drip down a little bit. A lot of our glazes do run, and hopefully, you know, they say so on the bucket. I'm going to try to make sure I say that. So, on the bucket when I go through them today. What I'll do is go through it and mix up the glazes. The first one I'm going to mix is transparent because a lot of you have underglazed pieces. Okay, so after you wax with the wax brushes that are in the blue cylinder, I'll show you back there, they're by the wax resist. You have to let the wax dry before you dip it in the glaze. That takes about 30 minutes. So that'll be one of the first things you do. Then you'll do some work while the wax is drying before you dip it in the glaze. The third step is going to be to stir the glaze. To the bottom. of the bucket. Okay, with the mixer, you have to get all the glaze up. Some of the glazes sediment down, and you're going to have like a sediment about that thick on the bottom that you have to break up and mix into the glaze before you use it. And that is part of the glaze. You need that for a consistent glaze. Okay, if you know that glaze has been mixed up for the class period, all you'll have to do is stir it with a stir stick. But you always have to stir before you dip, always. First off with a mixer, and thereafter with the stir stick. Okay, we have some nice long stir sticks. Okay, otherwise your glaze is going to be inconsistent. It's going to be partly glazed and thick on one side, and it's not good. Okay, 4. You're going to dip your project, dip your pot, I'll say, to count of 3. Okay, no longer. So you're going, and I'll demonstrate it. 1, 2, 3, out. Otherwise, what's going to happen if you hold it in there and start talking and lose track, the glaze will be way too thick. Okay, and it'll run down and it'll ruin your pot, or it'll just be it'll be a really thick mess. So, count of 3. 5. You have to wipe the bottom, because even though you've waxed it, there will be little droplets of glaze sticking to it. Don't forget this. If I turn your pot over, if I'm loading the kiln, or anyone and see that there are driplets on the bottom, it will not get fired. It's going to be put on the side. If you're here, you'll have an opportunity to wipe it, but if you're not, it won't get glazed that day. And number 6, place on the counter next to the kiln. Okay, so in order, and then your pot will be loaded and it will get fired. Okay, so I am going to push this back. And I'm going to post this right above the slab roller, which is also